right? We have education,
Yes.
we have religion,
Yes.
we have arts,
Arts and entertainment.
arts and entertainment.
We have media.
media
We have government
and politics. So that's
politics.
that's six.
That's six. It's seven. Maybe later if I remember the
Okay.
seventh one. So now, family is the most important.
Okay.
Family is the most important because it is from family that you get every other sphere of influence. Every other sphere of influence comes from family. You see.
Okay,
So that is why we're talking about this. If these core values are not etched into our family, into our families across the nation, then we can never have this across the nation. You see,
Okay.
we can never have these core values across the nation. So it is important that it is built in our families first before we can go ahead with other aspects. That
Okay.
is why we're talking about this today.
All right. So the Nigeria that we want to see could be very possible when we do the right things, beginning from the very foundational aspect
foundation.
of where we are, from childhood to the point, the type of family we come from, or the type of values that we heard in that family
Yeah.
have a larger role to play
Yeah.
in the type of citizens that we turn out to be
Yeah.
at the end of the day. Okay, so now looking at some of the very practical steps that we could get a value driven home. We have a lot of those steps, but could you just take out your time as you did the other time with the core values? Tell us, what are some of those practical steps that families could take or people could take in the society to foster the 7 national core values as citizens?
Okay, so when it comes to families, the most basic representation of a family is the parents and the children.
Okay.
The parents and the children. So when it comes to a family, the first step that we must implement in a family to bring about these core values being established
Okay.
in that family is leading by example.
All right.
Leading by example, modeling these core values in the family. You see that?
Yeah.
Children learn more when we act than when we instruct. They learn more when we do what we preach
Yeah.
than just preaching. For example, you tell a child, don't watch the TV or be a person of integrity, and when the child sees you, you are not straightforward. You have no integrity inside of you. You see that? So
Yeah.
the best way to teach a family, the best way to teach a child, and when it comes to leading by example, the role models we have, in a basic family, the basic representation of a family, the role models we have in a family are the parents.
Yeah.
You see that? So
Yes.
what we are saying now is specifically to the parents. You see that now?
Yes.
We must practice what we preach. That is the one of the most effective ways of teaching our children what to do, how to lead a good life. We must practice what we preach. So we must lead by example. If we tell our children, you must be honest, you must be a person of integrity, you must be self-reliant, they must first see these things in our own
Manifesting
lives.
in you, yeah.
Yes, before we can go ahead and start preaching it, or them, because it is very important, and it is very important that parents wake up to this reality, because the society is mercilessly and unapologetically ready to teach our children what we don't teach them.
What you fail to teach your child, he or she will learn it
Yes.
by force in the society.
The society is very much ready to teach. So if parents are not intentional to lead by example in their families, when the children go out, they would adopt every and anything they can see.
Yes.
For example, let me just explain it with this analogy. The mind of a child is like a farm.
Okay.
If we don't intentionally plant things, crops in a farm, weeds will grow, right?
Yeah, of course.
So if we are not intentional about the seeds we plant in that farm, weeds will definitely grow.
Yes.
You see that now?
Yes.
That means if parents are not intentional about the values, the ideologies, the mindsets they plant inside of the mind of their children, when those children go into the society, they would absorb every and anything that they can get out of that society. which are weeds.
Okay.
You see, so parents must lead by example. What these core values must be imbibed first in the life of the parents, and the parents must act on them, so that when the children watch and see, over time they will begin to replicate the same thing.
Okay.
Even when they go out to society. So the first is leading by example. Leading by example, very important. Then the second step to take is create a value-based environment in your family. Create a value-based environment, not sentiment-based. No, value-based.
Yeah.
Value-based. So that means that when you come to a family, in your family, you should create rules that have these core values inside of them.
Okay.
There should be rules and regulations in the family that has these core values imbibed in them. You see that? For example, that everyone in the family, one of our code of ethics and code of conduct in this family is that everyone must be honest. There is nothing like telling lies. Whatever it is, at least bring it first, then we know how to solve the problem.
handle it,
But
yeah.
there is no lying in this family. Everybody must be honest in their dealings.
Okay.
Or everybody must be a person of integrity, must be self-reliant. Don't go around every and any time you are asking for, give me this, give me that, give me that. Let us see what you can do. You see that now?
Yes.
It's a rule in the family. You see that?
Yes.
So we in the family, parents should have rules and regulations in their families, and these rules and regulations should have these core values imbibed in them. So when children begin to follow these rules and regulations, it's already building self-discipline in them.
Yeah.
You see that? It is already building self-discipline in them to follow. Okay, this is how I'm supposed to behave. This is how I'm supposed to behave. I'm going to try as much as possible to follow these regulations. These are the path my parents have
Yes.
given me to follow. So when they start following that path, gradually their mentality is changing gradually, because you see, it is very important that at infancy these things are built. It is better to raise strong men than to correct weak men.
Oh.
It is more important to raise strong men, children to become strong men, than later on to start correcting
Someone that is already weak.
you see that now. So this is very important in the family. Parents must try and create a value-based home by establishing family rules and regulations that have these core values imbibed in them. And also periodically the families should hold family meetings. The family should hold family meetings whereby they discuss, okay, these are the rules, how are we doing, how are we going, are you finding this difficult, what are the challenges you are having. It's very important, because children, even from experience and from what I've heard from a lot of people, children most times, even at their infancy, if parents give them that notion and that idea that, look, you can talk to me, I am open enough, let us talk about this. How are you seeing these rules? Is it helping you? Are you developing? Are you growing? Is it bettering your life? Or what are those challenges you have? For example, let me tell you, let's have a practical example now. Let's say a child in class,
Okay.
in class maybe is trying to be honest. He's trying to be, because he has been taught to
Yes,
be
at
honest
home.
at home. So
Yes.
now he wants to play that out in class. So maybe other classmates might be, you're a Jew guy. Why are you always honest?
You're
Why
so
are you
Jew.
always good? Why are you always like this, like that? So when that child gets back home, if the family has given that child an avenue to speak, let us hear what you have to say. You can always come to me.
Yes.
I'm not a lion. I'm your father. I'm your mother. Speak to me. We would communicate. I'm
Yes.
your friend, not just a parent. When in a family that has been shown that, okay, this is possible, that child, when the child comes back from school, the child will be open enough to tell the parent, Daddy, Mom, you see what happened in class. I tried to be honest. I tried to be a person of integrity, and then my classmates that are bullying me, my classmates that are saying I'm a Jew guy and all of that, then now you see the parent will now have the avenue to counsel that child, to now tell the child, don't mind what your classmates are saying.
Yes.
In the long run, they are going to envy you. You see that? Because these things, they pay. This value, these core values, they pay. These core values, over time, it is going to preserve your name, it's going to preserve yourself, that wherever you go to, even globally, you'll be known for something. You see that? So if, for example, I am a parent and I'm encouraging my child now, you see that child's self-esteem will be built. Tomorrow when he goes back to school, he will remain a person of integrity, because now I've shown him something way much more than what his classmates are saying. My influence is greater on that child because now we've had the avenue to communicate. But in a family whereby there is no room for communication, you see that there is going to be a problem. That child will now go back, just so he doesn't feel somehow the next day. He would gradually start shifting himself away from what he has been taught by his family,
to what his classmates are doing.
To now follow what, so that he will belong.
Because
nobody has taught him that is nowhere to belong, that there is something higher than what your classmates are saying. So that is very important. We must create a value-based home environment. Then the next point, the practical steps that we must take to see to it that the family is built, that these core values are imbibed in our family, is to encourage conversations about these values. Encouraging conversations about these values. We as parents, or parents we have had more experience than our children. We have had even young adults who are still growing. As parents, if truly while we were growing up, we grew up with these values, or at some point in our lives, we have maybe subscribed to these values and we have seen the benefits of these values. Over time, we would have conversations with the ones who are coming up, our children, and by having these conversations with them, open conversations, we can teach them that we can mentor them rightly, that there is more, that they should be people who imbibe by these core values, because by reason of our advantage in age, advantage in being ahead of them, we have seen more, we have seen better than them. Now this can only happen when we as parents, we have already imbibed this values.
You have practiced what you are trying to preach to that child.
Because you can't give what you don't have.
No, you cannot.
You cannot give what you don't have. So when you have practiced these things and you've seen the results, then you can now have healthy conversations with your family as touching these values. Now this is, we are speaking to already existing parents and parents to be. For already existing parents, it is true that you've lost some time. But however, we encourage you to imbibe by these core values. Start now to practice them. So with the little time you have left, you can teach your children, you can teach the family. And for the upcoming parents, the ones who are yet to give birth, who are aspiring to be parents, we also encourage you, go ahead and start working on yourself, building these values, becoming a person who has these core values in yourself, so that you would have the time to practice, get the results, and then even when you have your own children and your own family, you can have conversations about these values with them. Because someone who hasn't practiced it or doesn't have results to show, you would only just be, how do I put it now? You would only be telling stories.
Telling without evidence.
Exactly.
You explain without evidence.
Exactly. You just keep explaining and explaining,
and there will be no evidence to back it up.
You see, children of these days, they are very smart.
They are, indeed they are.
They are very smart.
Yes.
When they look at you, they are seeing the results in your life, and then what you're saying, they
it's in contrast with what you are trying to preach to them.
There is huge difference. There is huge gap from what you are saying with your mouth and the results you have. So saying that, they would begin to question what you are saying.
Yes.
And that would be a very unfortunate circumstance. That would be a very unfortunate place for a parent to find himself.
Themselves,
You see that? So
yeah.
number 3, we must encourage conversations about values in the family.
All right, we have been talking to Mr. Innocent Obasi, and he is trying to educate us again on why we must foster national core values in the family, at least acknowledging the fact that the home is the very first point of socialization, and the home or the environmental factors play a very crucial role, very significant roles in making us or molding us. So whatever it is that we want to see in Nigeria, or whatever picture that we want to paint in Nigeria, can only be possible when we have that foundation in our homes. So that is the discussion that we have been having here on the national core values. But we will continue when we return from this commercial timeout. Please stay tuned and keep listening to us. Remember, it is not an echo chamber at all. You on the other side can be a part of the conversation. Watch us live on Facebook, drop your comments, and you can also comment on our YouTube channel, and also subscribe, like our videos, and be a part of the conversation. You could also call us on our phone lines 090-7353-0044 or 090-9705-4450. So please be a part of the conversation. How can we move our nation forward? By taking those very practical steps to a value-driven home. Keep it locked right here, but we'll be back in a moment.
From Milky Way to Earth, everywhere there's internet, you can connect with Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja.
To stay.
Log on to our website.
Get the desired clients for your business and service and get your phones buzzing. From the 1st of September to the 31st of December, you can advertise and reach a large audience with the Eagles FM Ember Month package. Advertise on any of our platforms and get a whopping 30% discount. That's right, 30% discount. For more information, please call 080-5919-8658, 080-5919-8658, or 081-5791